Man, that coffee's good. I wonder where it's from.
You know, Matt, it's from Between Friends Coffee at the corner of Lake Joy and 96.
In Warner Robins, Georgia.
Wait, is this technically Capitol?
No, actually, this building is technically in Warner Robins.
Weird zoning.
Here we are in the Between Friends studios recording 2 live shows in a row. I mean,
don't get used to it, folks. I don't live here.
Yeah.
The grin on Matt's face right now is so happy.
Welcome to Pigskins. Whose voice is
This is a high-budget show, folks. A high-budget show. We are all about professionalism.
Who's that voice? It sounds like a good-looking man. I don't know.
All right.
Sounds like a face for radio.
Exactly. If I am nothing else, I am the face for radio. All right, so welcome to another live show of Pigskins And Pageantry. Joining me, as always, first of all, I'm Wes. Thanks for joining us. And as always, not always live, but always in the show, Jesse, what's going on?
Rarely live in person, always live via Zoom or Zencaster, but it's good. It's really cold, but my heart is warm because Bama won. No surprise. And you know what? Bo Nix got to eat his words and call Mac Jones daddy.
I thought she was going to say that her heart was warm because she was here amongst friends, but then she just made it all about Bama, as always. Matt, what's going on, my friend?
I'm good. Can't complain too much. My heart is also warm because Tennessee didn't lose this weekend.
Yes, you're not.
So we didn't. We're undefeated this weekend. So
If all else fails, just, don't play games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, opt out.
Best way to not
Go ahead and
lose.
do that for the rest of the season. Call it good.
The best way to not lose is to not play.
I wonder how many coaching jobs have been saved this year because of reschedules and stuff.
In 2 bye weeks.
Yeah. And
Well, we know whose job didn't get saved.
that's true.
We
We
do.
do know.
We do know.
We'll
that.
get there.
We'll get to that.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the games of last week. First off, we had Kentucky at Florida. Florida winning this one soundly 34-10. I got the point in this one. I was telling them just before we went live, I was listening to this game, and I had hope for Kentucky in the first half.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Because, they were doing all the right things. They were keeping the ball away from Florida. They were controlling the time of possession. They probably should have taken a 10-7 lead into halftime, but you guys know those design punt returns where they have 2 guys back and they have the one guy who fakes like the ball's coming to him and then it's actually going to the other guy. Well, that's what happened, and Kadarius Toney for Florida took the ball and scored right before half to take the lead.
Trickeration.
14-10. Yeah. So
Mullins a crafty little bugger.
he is crafty.
He and Lane Kiffin are cut from a similar cloth.
Yeah. So
When it comes to that. Hopefully not everything.
yeah. Well, never mind.
Moving on.
So yes, they took the lead at half, but then right after that, all went wrong for Kentucky. Basically, everything that Florida did, it went right. Everything Kentucky did went wrong, including penalties. I don't know. Obviously, I think we all knew what was going to happen, but we didn't want to, believe. Jesse, what were your thoughts on this game and just kind of Florida's comeback in the second half?
Yeah, they had a sluggish start. I don't know if I would call it a comeback. I would say just a sluggish start. And I think that it might come from the fact that they have gotten so much hype. There is an immense amount of hype around Trask right now. Just everyone's feeding into it. And it's one of those things, don't eat the rat poison, don't underestimate your opponent, and go in there a little sleepy, because then, things like the first half will happen. But, Kentucky played without their leading rusher in Chris Rodriguez for the second consecutive week.
Mm-hmm.
They averaged 3.4 yards a carry. So I don't think that's great for a team that's built on a run offense. That short yardage is not really going to help you, especially when it comes to a third down situation. You've got to get more yards than that. So I think that's a big issue for Kentucky right now. But I think Mullen's going to have a lot to say for his defense. Again, slow start for defense. They're not necessarily doing their job, at least for someone that is probably going to play some big teams.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Pitts was saying that several of the defensive guys on Kentucky were trash talking on social media, and that was, feeding into Florida, and that, and even Mullen mentioned it. He said, if you're going to talk trash, you better back it up. So,
It's cute coming for him.
but players, don't get on social media. Don't do that. I know you're 19.
Wait until the offseason.
Yeah, off season, or you know what? If you want to be confident, show yourself doing some push-ups or something. Don't trash talk your opponent. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't look good. It's not classy. I expect better, Kentucky. So
I can't imagine. Why? Why would you do that? Obviously, you know that you're a huge underdog anyways. Why put any more fuel on the fire?
I don't know if they thought it would help hype everybody up.
That's the
It might
wrong
be,
kind of
and
hype.
I've never in any shape, way, or form ever been a professional athlete or a semi-professional athlete.
But a professional Twitterer.
I can do that part, yes. I would assume that it probably has something to do with that elite athlete mentality.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fighter pilot. You got to be a little cocky.
Sure,
So
Fair.
maybe in that case, it's just that mentality kind of takes over.
I could see that.
Well, don't let that take over, because it usually doesn't work very well.
Did you have any other thoughts on this game?
Just how crazy is it that Kyle Pitts comes back after what, 2 or 3 games he's missed, or 2 or 3 weeks?
He missed 2
99 yards
games.
and 3
Yeah.
touchdowns. Just, I don't know why his name's not more in contention for the Heisman. I know Trask is like the front runner right now, but
Yeah.
but Kyle Pitts should be there too. Absolutely should be in that mix. And the other thing that really jumped off that I noticed when I was going back over things is adjustments. Going into half, it was 14-10. Okay, second half, Florida scores 20 unanswered points. Didn't give up a single point in the second half. And it pains me to say that, but that's the mark of a good team.
Yeah.
And a good coaching staff to make those adjustments.
Yeah.
You have to, also Kentucky, 3 turnovers.
Yeah, it's a lot.
3. Hey, Florida,
Couple.
you had 2 looking at you, but 3 turnovers. This could have potentially been a different ball game had you not done that, had you capitalized more on yardage, or maybe, I don't know, learn to throw the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, Kentucky struggled with their offense for, honestly, a few years now. But it is what it is, and they do what they have with the talent that they have. So,
See if some of the basketball players can help.
you never know. I wonder how that translates, basketball skill to football. Tight end, go up and get the ball.
Tight end, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it before. All right, next we had Vanderbilt at Mizzou. Mizzou winning this one.
Woof.
And it wasn't even a game, 41-0. Matt got the point in this one.
Told ya.
Yeah, he did.
Shot in the dark.
Man, I don't know.
And that wasn't even a large differential. It was just larger than ours.
And I'm not, too embarrassed to say that I did pick Vandy. I don't know why, but
They've hurt me too.
it's just one of those things where you think this time they're going to do it, right?
No.
This time they're going to do
No.
it.
Every time you think that, they don't do it. It's the times where you're like, they're not going to do that.
The way it's looking, it's going to be an offer on the season, and I don't remember the last time that happened at Vandy. They've always been kind of.
Well, they also have the disadvantage of not playing any cupcakes.
Right.
That's what it really boils down to.
SEC, yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Hard to compete in the SEC.
Asterisk season.
The real story and the big story in this was Sarah Fuller making history, the first woman to play in a Power 5 game. I wish that Vanderbilt didn't, for lack of a better word, didn't suck so bad, and they could get her close enough to at least attempt a field goal. They couldn't even do that. Not even an extra point.
Nope.
If you guys haven't seen SEC shorts this week,
Yeah.
because they hit all over that, and it's
I haven't seen that.
hilarious and heartbreaking.
And it's
at
like,
the same
Vandy,
time.
you had one job. Yeah, this is the first time a woman has played in a Power 5 game, and you couldn't even
Note
get her
the
one
Power
single
5.
point.
I want to really highlight that because I feel like there are a lot of people out there on the interweb that are like, she's not the first woman to play in a football game. You are correct. She
Right.
is not the first woman to play in a college football game. 100%. Power 5 are the 2 key words we need to focus on there. So that is it. And also, to the people out there that before the game were saying they hope the guys go after her, they hope that they crush her,
Who is
and
saying
all of that. So many
Everybody.
people
Are you serious?
on social
Everybody.
media. First of all,
Oh, my
sir,
gosh.
or you
I
know
shouldn't be
what,
surprised.
ma'am, but mostly sir. you were probably never a college athlete, and this woman is still a Division I college athlete. She could probably do better than you regardless. But to just wish ill will on somebody, like, really?
Yeah, I don't.
It blows my mind. So Sarah Fuller, congrats to you. And I think she was SEC Player of the Week.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure about that. But and also of note is I just saw it today where she will be playing again on Saturday. So that's
She will be.
That's good news.
So maybe they'll score.
Maybe they'll score a point. They are playing Georgia.
So they might not
possible,
score.
though. Maybe fourth quarter, second, third string defense is in. You never know. I think
They didn't score against Mizzou.
But I think Mizzou. I mean, if you're Mizzou, you're going to try to make a statement, right?
Did y'all happen to see how many yards Mizzou put up?
Yeah, 603.
603 yards.
And
Vandy 185.
yeah, not
Not
so
for
great.
one player. That was
Have you seen
Vandy.
Missouri look
It's total.
like an offensive juggernaut where they're going to get over 500 yards on the year? Nope.
No, but hey, silver linings. I'm trying to give it something here. Okay. So, also noteworthy is Larry Roundtree III. As of last week, didn't mention last week, but as of last week, he now has the most rushing yards by any running back in Mizzou's history, with 3,398 yards.
Good.
So
That's great.
good for him. Yeah. All right.
Yay!
Next, we have the Iron Bowl, number 22 Auburn at number 1 Alabama. Take note of that ranking for Auburn because it's not going to last very long. So, Bama winning this one 42-13. Jesse getting the point in this one. Yeah, what do you got? I have to say though that being at the house and watching with you, it was quite a different story this year than last year.
Yes.
You were there was still stress there, but it wasn't nearly what it was last year.
No, last year was so painful. It was so painful. And there's those times when Alabama doesn't like wrap up on a tackle, or we
Right.
or that one time we had pushed Auburn back into the end zone. Bo Nix was scrambling back there, and we still let him scramble away for a first down. Those moments give me PTSD. I get very nervous. But no, this was a stellar performance from not only the defense, but the offense. I think that, and if you didn't get to see it, Bo Nix before the game said that he thinks Mac Jones is more of a game manager. I think Bo Nix got managed. He did not pull out his
Again,
Karen,
why?
and he did not get a hold of the manager. So I'm thrilled. I think
You can hear, if you're not watching the video, you can hear the smile in that voice. You
so
can hear it.
I'm so
Because there's
happy.
nothing an Alabama fan loves more than in the world than stopping a mud hole in Auburn and then walking it dry.
I couldn't have said it any better. That's a fact. That's a fact. And so I'm not a Bama fan myself, but I've been married to one for 10 years, and I'd have to say that is absolutely true. Being around, especially this game, so.
Yeah, I think an important thing was, so for those that maybe didn't keep up, Nick Saban was diagnosed with the coronavirus. He was not coaching in this game. Our offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian, was at the helm this time. I think Sark did a great job. I think he truly, called some great plays. And I think that the players really played like Nick Saban was there. I didn't really notice a difference. And as people who have been watching or listening to the show rather know that I'm a little hard on Sark.
Maybe Sark's the power behind the throne.
No.
I think the turnover there
Let's
is
not go that far. But I think
Jesse's real quick shut that down, wasn't she?
I'm willing to give him the second chance. I'm happy with him now because this is a high stakes situation to get put in when you have to just all of a sudden go for it. And also, Nick Saban is the first coach to beat a team from the couch. So I do want to say that.
Hold on now. From the couch.
From the couch.
If we're talking semantics, then sure.
From the couch.
Because Hugh Freeze did it from a hospital bed.
That's fair. That is fair. But wasn't he up in the box?
Yeah, but he was still in a hospital bed, and they panned to him every 35 seconds.
Let me rephrase.
By the way,
From
we
home.
didn't talk about game day being in Carolina this weekend. That's something we need to discuss. Go
I
ahead.
won't be there. Daggone. But the Crimson Tide has given up less than 4.5 yards per play in each of their last 3 games, and 26 tackles for loss over the last 5 games. It's a great team to watch. It's I think one of the best teams we've had.
Which is funny because you probably wouldn't have said that coming into the season with all the uncertainty and stuff.
No, and I think Auburn, again, it was just that very inconsistent team. They, to me, and you guys can tell me what you guys think, but I didn't think they made very many adjustments at all.
I don't think the sweater vest got burned this weekend.
They weren't in Jordan hair.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, at some point though, like how many adjustments can you make though if the other team is just better?
But Bo Nix, and
really
we
hard.
talked about it on Saturday. If you pressure him at all, for someone that starts in a Power 5 conference, that boy just chunks it. He doesn't look. He just throws.
And they tend to say that he runs a lot anyway, even when he's not in pressure. And we talked about this earlier in the year about how he was doing that, and then they started designing plays around that. They're like, okay, fine, if you're going to run just for no reason, then we're just going to design plays where you run. And I guess they didn't really do that for this game. But, I mean, I don't really know what their options are. And also, I saw people saying, you know, we need to take out Bo Nix. We need to take him out. And
For who?
that was exactly what they said. Other Auburn fans were like, and putting who? We have no one else that's, you know, at least capable of performing well at this level. So, I don't know. Can I say that the real beef that I had at the end of this, though, was how Sark does this great job of coaching in Saban's absence.
I feel a huge butt coming.
Do they talk to him after the game? No. They have Nick Saban on the phone.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I missed that.
And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This guy steps in one of the biggest high pressure situations, you know, one of the biggest coaches in the game is out. He's got to step up. Do we want to talk to him? No. Let's talk to the guy on the phone.
I wonder if it's because Saban is such an interesting person to watch on the sidelines, and his media interviews are kind of interesting. And I think they were just hoping he would say something, you know.
Probably.
But I think going back to Sark, this could have been his new audition for a head coaching position.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I swear, Carolina and
You might-
Vandy, I am looking at you.
You might as well just forget
Don't
it.
do it.
This is the mark of success. Your program succeeds, your coordinators are rotating circle.
Another Saban rehab grad.
And I know you hate it, but it is, in a way, it's a compliment too. And it's not like it matters. We've seen it happen over and over again. It's
It
just-
happened with Sark.
Yeah, exactly. Does it? But
Yeah, but that didn't work out so well.
No, he jumped too hard. He went NFL.
too fast. Yeah, too
he
much
went
of a
to
jump.
He went to the Falcons.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, didn't
He
work out so
had
well.
already accepted the job, and he was coaching in our natty against Clemson and
That's-
lost it with some
Yeah, 'cause you guys
terrible
blamed him
play
for the-
calling. And then he left, and we were like,
Somebody's a little bitter about that.
like I said, I'm okay now. I'm better now.
That's all it took to get back in your good graces, to kick the crap out of Auburn?
That's usually all it takes.
Oh, okay, well, good.
That's
Write that
usually-
down, Wes.
That's it.
You probably can apply that to your wife, too.
Oh, God.
Next time you mess something up,
Just-
you get the wrong thing at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll go, like,
Call the right play in a football game.
beat Auburn. And,
There you go.
I'll make,
Burn a
I'll make-
sweater vest.
I'll
I
make
don't
sure
know.
I can try to figure that out somehow.
Oh, goodness
Um,
gracious.
By the way, if one of you guys could keep an eye on Instagram,
I got it right here.
You demand. All right. Did you have anything to add about that?
No, aside from the fact that, Auburn's, 2 games left. They're sitting at 5-3. Still got to play Texas A&M next week.
Oh, wow.
You could potentially be looking at 5-4 going into the last game of the season. That's not what I anticipated at Auburn this year.
But as we've talked about, it probably should have been much worse.
You're right. They should be probably what? 3-5, maybe,
They
or at least 4-4.
They probably won at least 3 games off of questionable calls.
Yeah.
So 2, probably 3. So
Gus Bus is looking kind of rough.
And that's what I want to know is, it's like, it's such a feast and famine with him. It's like one year, everybody's like, okay, he's done well enough, we're going to keep him. The next year, they're like, we got to get rid of him. And then, they stick with him long enough for him to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know if you're an Auburn fan. As a Georgia fan, I hope Gus sticks around for a long time.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So,
Well, I say that. He's hurt me a time or two.
well, and that's true. So I feel, obviously he's beat Georgia as
Yeah.
well, but on average, I feel like he's not as much of a threat as maybe some other coach might be.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're not they haven't been a top 4 team
in a while,
long
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Okay, so next we had the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State at Ole Miss.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
Ole Ole Miss won this one 31-24. Lots of offense in this one. Over 1,000 yards between the teams. And honestly, numbers-wise, it's pretty even. First downs, total yards. Both quarterbacks, ridiculous stats. Will Rogers, 45 out of 61 for 440 yards and 3 touchdowns. Matt Corral, 385 yards, going 24-36 and 2 touchdowns. But honestly, I mean, most of this game, it was like Ole Miss had a cushion for their lead, and Mississippi State, they did kind of make a game of it at the end, but it was just kind of too little, too late, I think. Did you guys see Lane Kiffin's tweet?
Yes.
The Michael Jordan, it became personal for
Yes.
So if you guys remember, and the people watching or listening, earlier in the year when they had their what was that?
It was SEC Media
Yeah,
Day.
that's
Is that what it was?
SEC.
And that makes sense. And obviously, COVID, everybody's got their masks on, and Kiffin walks by, and Mike Leach grabs the mask and pulls it and smack like a middle schooler. And
There's a reason why we like Mike Leach.
and so Kiffin tweeted a picture of that, and then the Michael Jordan meme that it became personal for me. And so he tweeted that afterwards. So clearly,
And I texted y'all when I saw that tweet, and I said, if only things had gone different, you would have Lane Kiffin
God.
at the front of Vol Twitter, and it would be amazing.
I mean, you have to say his Twitter game is strong.
His Twitter
If
game is
nothing
strong.
else is.
I don't know what's stronger, his offensive play calling or his Twitter game. They're both very impressive.
He's a
Yeah.
troll on Twitter.
He really is. Matt, we were talking about this one a little bit before. Did you have any more thoughts on the Egg Bowl?
I was shocked that Mississippi State climbed back into it. Like they really were trying hard to get back into it there at the end. And as much as I have come to forgive.
Come to forgive?
Yes, come to
That
forgive.
one,
Forguven.
I like forgive.
Forguven.
Name of the episode. Forguven.
As much as I've come to forgive Lane Kiffin for the, leaving in the middle of the night and doing all that stuff.
He'd give you a moment.
I was really pulling for Mike Leach. I wanted a big win for Mike, and they came short. They just came up short.
Whatever you did in the third quarter, do that the whole game.
All right.
Scoreless third quarter.
The other thing that kind of jumped off at me here too is the fact that both quarterbacks threw for 5 touchdowns combined.
Yeah.
No interception.
No
Only one
interceptions.
fumble in the game.
Yeah.
As much as those two teams throw the
Yeah.
ball, it's impressive that didn't happen. But that also says something about the quality of the defenses we're looking at here.
Yeah.
No offense. If you're on Mississippi
Fair.
State or Ole Miss's defense,
I can't
we
say
have nothing but respect for you. But
You could beat me
I mean-
in defense for sure.
I couldn't
just-
say anything because Mississippi State's defense did pretty well against Georgia's run game.
Yeah, that's
they,
true.
Made us
They
one-dimensional.
did. They did. They must have had their
Something. Thank goodness JT Daniels
special
ate
juice
his.
that week.
Thank goodness Daniels ate his Wheaties that day. But yeah.
By the way, he shaved off the mustache. Thank God.
Yeah.
So less.
And
like,
now if he could just get rid of the middle part, he'll be okay.
well, it's baby steps. Man. Baby steps.
Jesse,
just
did
stuck
you
in the 90s.
have any thoughts on the Egg Bowl?
I mean, it's basically everything Matt said. I mean, I think it's a little bit of hope for Mississippi State, but at the same time, you're playing against an Ole Miss defense that people just run through.
Yeah.
But it is good to only keep, Ole Miss to 31 points, where they have scored a lot against other opponents. So there's some good takeaways, I think, for the Bulldogs, but they got a long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're showing a lot of progression though. Like if you
Yeah.
look over the last 2 or 3 games, Mississippi State looks a lot better than they did in those first couple of weeks. With the exception of the LSU game, we all know that's an aberration.
Well, that was just against LSU.
Yeah, it's just exception. But over the last couple of weeks, it seems like things are starting to kind of get
Yeah.
a little bit better. It seems like that maybe the kids are buying into Mike Leach's offensive philosophy. So maybe,
After the purge.
well, after
That's
that's
fair.
true. Well, they leaned into that storyline too during the game too, didn't they?
Yeah.
They put up every kid's name that left that program this season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But that's going to happen. You're going to have that happen.
Yeah,
You
it's
get
a
rid
new
of a
coach.
coach who's not known for his bedside manner.
Right.
yeah.
And he's going to say, listen, this isn't a fit for you. Kick bricks, Junior. We'll see you later.
Well, let's be honest. Mike Leach's offense is very specialized, and so
Yes.
it's going to take a specialized person to click with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at all at the fallout from his offense. Do I think Mississippi State fans are thrilled about it? Probably not, but in something so different and so specialized, there's going to be growing pains through it all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next year. All right, let's see. Who do we have next? We had
I have two favorites.
LSU at Texas A&M. A&M winning this one 20-7. I got the point in this one. Honestly, we haven't said this very much this year, but defense.
Yeah.
Decent defense. Both teams exactly 267 yards on the nose.
Somebody made a lot of money on that bet.
Yes.
Somebody
The
made a
one
lot of money.
person.
Bet a dollar made like $6,000 or something.
You know what stat wasn't even though? The turnovers.
No.
LSU with 3. Finley throwing 2 of those. One of them was a pick 6. And I don't know. Did you guys? I don't know if you got the picture I sent you of Coach O in Finley's face after the pick 6. It was just like a freeze frame of him like this with just as a face that only he can make. Right up in his face.
That would just be terrifying.
Oh my
and
God.
you don't know what he's yelling at. You have no idea.
You just know anger.
You just know it's bad.
You might be able to pick out a few words here and there. Like, I kid you, pass.
Yeah.
Like, and you just kind of nod and go, yes, coach. Yes, coach. Sorry, coach.
And then go sit down.
Go Tigers.
Go put the headset on.
Yeah, he wasn't saying go Tigers.
I don't think he was at that
was
point in time.
So after that pick 6 by Finley, Max Johnson came in the game at quarterback. Interesting because both quarterbacks had about the same number of throws. So both of them saw significant playing time. And then LSU fans will not like to hear that they only scored with 38 seconds left in the game. Up to that point, really nothing. So it looks like Coach O will evaluate the quarterback position this week a little bit further and see who's going to start. But Jesse, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this one. I mean, I know you have thoughts between these two teams. So
No, Jimbo, hey, it's the holidays.
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to mention his name.
Good.
But-
This way not to. I just don't think the offenses were clicking for either team. Now, LSU's has not really clicked all year, so we expected that. But it became a little bit of a defensive slugfest, which I think is good. The Aggies only allowed 36 rushing yards. They had 3 sacks. So that's great when you're potentially going up against some, bigger teams. If they can climb their way in the rankings, they're going to need that defense because if that offense doesn't perform like it should, you're going to need a defensive slugfest. But I think that's good for them because if we think about in the past, defense has not been something we talked about a lot positively. So A&M, could be on the up and up. Who knows?
yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, the word anemic comes
Yes.
to mind. That's a very big word. I'm a very smart man.
You teach.
I do.
You teach.
I was doing my Donald impression. The word anemic comes to mind when you look at how many passing yards Texas A&M had.
Yeah.
Could not move the ball.
Yeah.
Couldn't move the ball at all in the air. It seemed. And I just with out of a top 10 team, I feel like unless you're a specialized run team, you should be able to pass the ball, especially against a team like LSU.
Especially against
Have we become just so used to the flurry of offense, though, that if a team actually decides to play some defense, we're like, man, this offense is just really struggling.
It's possible. I mean, it's possible.
Do we think if the A&M Florida game happened again this coming week,
No, Florida run
you think
right through.
you think Florida's got it this time?
Oh my gosh, especially with Pitt's back.
Yeah.
I think Florida beats them by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I don't think that A&M team can keep up.
If it's the second half Florida team from last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if it's Florida team from
I think first half was probably just they thought Kentucky was just going to be a pushover.
Exactly.
And so halftime they're like, oh crap, we got to wake up and actually play this game.
well, they adjusted.
Right.
Yeah.
Mullen got in there and started doing what Mullen does.
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say anything inflammatory there.
He
I had an
yells.
opportunity
But it
to,
was
and I did.
insinuated.
Highly insinuated. Yes.
Else.
Doing what Mullen does. You don't have to say anything else. We all know what that means. So.
I would agree. I think Florida would take it. I
Yeah.
think I don't know. I think that A&M game was a fluke for Florida,
Yeah.
but their defense also isn't great. So who knows?
Yeah, and well, we'll talk about the rankings here in a minute.
Yeah.
But all right, so the final matchup of the day was Georgia at South Carolina. Georgia won this one 45-16. Matt getting the point in this one. Yeah, I mean, so Georgia obviously had some running struggles the week prior. This week, those were resolved, at least for the week at least. So if you look at the numbers, each running back, man, just had decent stats. You had James Cook with 104 yards, Zamir White 84 yards, McIntosh 79, Edwards with 77. It really didn't seem to matter who they put in there. I mean, the offensive line was just making holes that I think I could have run through and had a decent yardage. So, kudos to them. And so if you look at JT Daniels' stats, he only threw the ball 16 times. He threw 2 touchdowns, and he had the 1 pick, but I mean, that was kind of, I don't know if y'all saw that, but that was really weird. It bounced off the receiver and came down right as the defensive guy was sliding out of bounds.
I hate those.
He was barely in bounds as he caught
It was a little mambly-pambly, little rinky-dink.
I love how you're insulting the interception.
Chester Cheetah interceptions.
I don't even know what you're saying right now or where this is going, but I think
just putting words together.
I know, we're just saying, I love lamp type of stuff.
I love lamp interceptions.
Yeah.
There we go.
But I think it was last week we were talking about who was Luke Doty, but he actually started this game for.
No, I'm pretty sure Matt was talking about how much he didn't like his last name.
It's not a good football name.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm sorry. Kid, if you're watching, don't take this personal. It's an awful football name.
Well, I don't know if you saw him, but
Lucille.
he's built like a Mack truck.
I'm sure.
So
he plays SEC football. He's got to be built somewhat big. They'll make small SEC players.
Yeah, so, I mean, he did pretty well. I mean, look, South Carolina's struggling right now. They're trying to find any kind of spark. They're depleted in a lot of areas. So honestly, Georgia did what we should have done. So I'm not going to gloat about a 45-6 victory because honestly, it's what should have happened. We'll see what continues or what happens for both these teams going forward. I don't have anything more to add. Matt, do you have anything to add about this one?
Here's my question: was this a little bit of a step back for Daniels?
He didn't have to throw it.
He,
if you look at it,
is that what? Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
He only threw it 16 times. So I mean, honestly, they were just handing off, and
it wasn't like last week against Mississippi State where they were bombing them out every time.
Where everyone was throwing 52 passes.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm jumping in a shadow there. I just felt like it was a little bit of a step back.
I'm just mad 'cause he
compared
shaved
to
the
it. But again,
mustache.
trust me, I'm not. I'm just looking at the numbers as an outside observer.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's probably what it was.
But you don't have to pass it when you keep.
Yeah, I mean, there were guys
climbing on the floor.
Run the clock, run the
pretty much
ball.
every running play, yeah. Jesse, did you have anything on this one?
It just looked like revenge from last year.
Oh.
Do you remember when you guys met last October?
Trying to forget that.
There was a loss
Trying
of
to forget
20 to
that one.
17. They lost to Carolina.
I don't remember that one.
And I feel like
Oh wait, yes I do.
this score is a little bit of a revenge.
Could be.
Plus, I would imagine
Although-
not Muschamp. Muschamp
Don't.
is not the
Don't
head
you
coach.
dare.
He is not a champion.
Don't you dare.
What? Oh man.
So now-
that would have been a completely different situation if that had happened. But don't Kirby Smart and Bolo have some common
play
lineage? Did they play together? So that was probably
Same team, yeah.
that was probably a little bit of
They
a
have a group text.
yeah. I'm sure. And Saban's their daddy. Thanks, Lane.
Yeah.
So I was just
Which is it, dad or ex-girlfriend? I mean, that's
Dad.
what's even more disturbing is Lane compares him to both.
Again,
Lane likes the sauce. Who knows what he's
Lane
That's
is
true. That's
always
true.
sauced, probably.
Yeah.
Lane is nothing
Probably
but
while
fun.
he's on the sidelines too.
No, that's Sarkeesian. Anyway, let's move.
Continue.
I won't say it's too soon because that's been a while, but
Keep going.
that was too on the
I'm
nose.
so glad we're a tiny podcast because that probably could have got us slammed for libel.
Keep
And
going.
slander. Libel's printed.
Slender.
I think if it's true, it doesn't matter.
No, that's not true. My math clock.
True, you're right.
Yep.
Doesn't
All
matter.
right, kids, we're what, 20 minutes in and we've already come off the rails? I love it.
Okay,
I
let's
love it.
go.
Let's just say that there's a reason there's no longer a beer refrigerator in the coach's locker room. So, all right, so
Calories, boss. It's too many
that's what it
calories.
is. That's what it is.
Calories. Empty calories will get you in trouble this time of year, too.
It will.
Yeah.
And in quarantine.
All right, so that is all the games from last week. Current pick'em standings, Matt and I are tied at 18 now.
Unacceptable.
Jesse has 13, and
Whatever.
we still have a decent amount of football left. So
Thank God.
lots of craziness could happen. So, all right, so let's get into the news here. This week's CFP rankings. And I did. It was glorious.
Sounds like a squirrel trying to
I tried.
And you see, you
I
get,
can't do that.
you get an A for effort.
I'll
I mean,
practice in the mirror later by myself.
Please do. And I I hope like your mom is walking by while you do it too. Like, what are you doing? All right, so this week's CFP rankings. If you guys are watching with us right now, obviously these just came out, so these are hot off the press, or actually hand wrote these because I printed these out earlier. But so Bama is number 1 at 8-0, Notre Dame number 2 at 9-0. Clemson number 3 at 8-1. See how I just planned for that right there, and I just kept going. And then number 4 Ohio State at 4-0. That's right, 4-0. Texas A&M number 5 at 6-1. Number 6 Florida 7-1. Number 7 Cincinnati at 8-0. Number 8 Georgia at 6-2. Number 9 Iowa State at 7-2. And number 10 Miami at 7-1. And yes,
Cincinnati in front of Georgia. Come on.
I only went through 10 because unfortunately there are no more SEC teams throughout the top 25.
Well, I mean, we got one.
But by gosh, they got Coastal Carolina in there at number 15 or whatever. That
Coastal Carolina's going to lose to Liberty this weekend, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, good point. So I don't know.
By the way, I don't understand what college game day is there. Anyway, we'll come back to it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
I don't know. Just did you guys have any thoughts on this one? Obviously, these have just come out. Top 7 are all the same.
Ohio State has played Nebraska,
Awful.
Penn State.
Who has not won it? No, wait.
Finally won a game.
Finally won it against.
Yeah.
Against Harbaugh.
I knew you'd like that.
Okay, Pants can't be a team that absolutely sucks.
Rutgers
Yes.
and
Hey, Rutgers has
Indiana.
looked a lot better this year.
They've looked better. And Indiana, which Indiana is sneaky.
Saw that.
And they only beat Indiana by a touchdown.
Indiana's really good this
That's
year.
what I'm saying. But that's the thing.
Unfortunate about their quarterback.
I know.
So what happened to their quarterback?
ACL. He's out
Yeah.
for the season.
Oh, no, when did that? That happened on Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
But that's the
I
thing.
just started
They've
watching
played
the game.
4 games against 3 out of 4 teams that are not great. And somehow we're just like, oh, no, name recognition, throw them at 4.
Well, yeah. I mean, look who they're ahead of. Texas A&M, Florida, Cincy. It makes sense.
I feel like I put Florida above Ohio State.
I think I put Texas A&M, Florida, Cincinnati, Georgia, Iowa State, and Miami ahead of Ohio State.
Right. And Notre Dame at number 2? Notre Dame just sponsored by Kool-Aid.
Come on,
Just
come on.
sponsored.
They beat Clemson.
And
Wait,
they've cinched themselves a spot in the ACC title game. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Can they clinch it?
Yeah, they just.
Can you imagine how mad those ACC fans are right now? This joker comes
We
into
let-
their conference for just this season and goes to their conference championship.
Well, even worse.
I'd be so mad.
What if they beat Clemson again and put out their darling?
The ACC
ACC will
is so
riot.
mad.
There will be riots in the
So
ACC.
mad.
Things will be bad.
I kind of want that to happen now just to watch the fallout.
right?
I wonder if is Clemson Twitter a thing? If you're on Clemson Twitter, hit us up and let us know.
Let us know how you
I
would
don't know if
feel.
Clemson Twitter is a thing.
I think so.
I'm sure.
I know Florida State Twitter is because
know
I've
what
gotten in
they
an
call it.
argument with them before.
That's fair.
You remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
They'd
Yeah.
be
Oh, man. I mean, the glaring thing to me is just the number of games. I don't know if you guys can hear the squealing tires outside. Wonderful.
I thought it was a child.
I hope not.
That would be really awkward.
Goodness. The glaring number to me is Ohio State has only played 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one of these things is not like the other type of thing. And, like, all these other teams have played all these games. And I've heard talk of, and I don't know if it's true or not, about, the possibility of the committee saying there's a minimum number of games and what that number should be. I don't know if it's going to be 6 games or whatever. So, potentially, if Ohio State has some cancellations that come up, they may be just thrown out of it by default.
I mean, they should be. It's
I
not
mean,
you.
especially
Yeah.
when you look at there's no sample size to evaluate with, and the schedule that you just read to me, like it makes no sense.
Doesn't denote a
There's
top
not-
14.
I mean, look at and y'all know I'm not a UGA fan at all. But look at someone like UGA that's won 6 games, but they're still ranked lower than someone that's
Right.
only
And their
won
2
4.
losses are
They're-
to number 1 and number 6.
Exactly. So how do you put a a team that's only played 4.
Again, can we drop the lowest test grades here?
Exactly. We're just doing
if they get to.
portfolio play. Here's the best I got. And just see what shakes out.
Yeah.
Iowa State, put them above Ohio State. They played 7.
And in their chance, Ohio State's next couple of games could potentially get canceled too, because they keep talking about that. So
There's a possibility. And now here's another thing. So I think what's their remaining games? Isn't it? I think Michigan State is one of them.
Michigan State is supposed to be this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
no,
if you're Michigan State and you hate Ohio State, why don't you just cancel the game?
oof.
And say,
But then-
oh my gosh, all of our guys have COVID.
But then they only
We can't
play because then there are 2 remaining games. They'll only play 6.
Right.
Is Michigan State, and then Michigan is what will close it out. So I mean, it happens all the time. We see it all the time. What happens if there's an outbreak at all over the state of Michigan? Michigan State has to postpone, and Michigan has to postpone because of
Right.
COVID reasons. They only play 4 games. You can't tell me that, the minimum is all of a sudden 4.
Yeah, I mean, if you try to shoehorn a team in, then that just proves to me that it's all about name recognition.
Exactly.
Because if you're just going to shovel Ohio State in the mix there, just because of their name and just because they beat some teams that honestly aren't that great on the whole.
Congrats on beating Penn State.
It looks like they're going to finish the season playing 6 total games.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And their last 2 opponents aren't even in the top 25.
I'm interested to see.
According to what we're looking at here, they've played 1 ranked team, and that's Indiana.
Watch this be the one year that Harbaugh beats Ohio State.
Oh my gosh.
It's not going to happen, but
It
I mean,
won't.
No, it probably
It won't, but it'll be interesting. I mean, this is going to be the first time, everyone's trying to play a game after Thanksgiving. These kids may have gone places after their games. The kids that were on bye weeks may have gone places.
Hey, you better.
Students are back. They're back, So I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see how the games go this weekend and see what happens. Who gets tested, who's positive.
Question is, does Florida State cancel another game 3 minutes before kickoff like they did this past weekend and the weekend before that?
It's not a good look.
It's a horrible look.
It's
for
not a
Florida
good
State.
look.
I don't know what Florida State's doing. Anyway,
I mean, and honestly, I think
Said that a lot.
we're still just getting revved up on some of this stuff. I think mid-December is just going to be pandemonium as far as scheduling and as far as because so I
We
think-
just knocked off Arkansas. We're like, nah. We'll play LSU. Nah.
I think we've kind of kicked the can down the road, but at some point, somebody's going to get mad because up until now, everybody's like, okay, we'll deal with this because we just want to play football. But at some point, people are going to want to be able to get in the playoff or make some kind of argument for whatever. And at some point, people are going to start getting mad because they're like, no, this isn't right. We have to. We have
It's
to draw the
coming
line somewhere.
soon because if you look, I mean, Vandy didn't have a kicker. They pulled a soccer player, a women's soccer player. They made it happen. If you look at the NFL this past week, the Broncos didn't have a quarterback. Nobody, they all had to be quarantined, and it was rough. Bless
I
that
wish
guy's
that
heart.
coach could have played.
I know.
So
But
great.
that could happen in college, and the NFL's making it work. People are making it work.
Yeah.
there was talk that the Steelers Ravens game, if they didn't push it back, the Ravens were talking about doing a wildcat strike, where they were going to be like, look, if you're not going to give us time to get everybody where we need to, we just won't play.
Yeah. Supposedly that game's going to happen tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah,
like during the day.
Yeah, like Wednesday at like 3:30 or something.
Really weird. So
I have a couple of people in that game for fantasy, so
'Cause I
I
saw-
need that game to happen.
I saw some
Because I'm right behind you, Charlie. I'm coming for you.
on the Steelers Facebook page. They had the official excuse from work. I need to watch the game, or they need as much support as possible.
Can we just go ahead and get rid of the pleasantries here and just go ahead and make a 10-team playoff? Because look at
least 8.
Look at what matchups you would get. You get Bama, Miami. You get Notre Dame, Iowa State. You
fun.
get Clemson, UGA. That's a classic.
That would be a
rivalry
good
game.
one.
You get Ohio State, Cincinnati. Cincinnati probably win that one.
I would.
Texas A&M and Florida.
Oh, we get the rematch.
I mean, that would be so
Rematch
much
right there.
fun. Let's just make that happen.
I'm here for
And
it.
then make so much bloody money off of it.
Everybody's got
I
somebody
just-
in there.
I don't know. It's a disservice if they don't do it. I don't think they're going to do it. But
They're not.
Well, we
they
also
gotta-
said they'd never go to a playoff too, and yet we've got a 14 playoff.
But especially this year, and with all the garbage that has happened, you just have to.
Give the people what they want.
Well, you have
Let
to
us-
decide it on the field.
Let a 6-0 my Ohio State team get in there. And then let's see what happens when they run into a Georgia.
Right. Well, and if you throw them in a big pool like that, then it's not as much of a disaster if they lay an egg on national television.
Right.
In a big
You
bowl
will
game.
make more money. Also, just give us one thing this year. Just one.
Just one, yeah.
Just have one thing. It's gonna have an asterisk next to it anyways. So if it fails, who cares?
Yeah. Now, I really wish they would. It's impossible to evaluate. All those people in the committee room are trying their best, but I mean, you can only evaluate what you've seen, and we don't know.
You can't evaluate an Ohio State team
can't.
that's played 4 games.
You can't.
You can't.
Okay.
Oh, wait. We got a couple comments. Hold on.
Okay. On the Insta.
This is somebody saying they can't hear.
Oh no.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
so apologies on the Instagram. I need to get another microphone because right now we're just kind of picking up on the regular microphone there. So apologies for that.
Sorry about that.
So
Maybe go to Facebook.
so we are also
JJ.
streaming on Facebook, but you can't hear. So I was gonna say they can't hear me if they're having. Maybe you could hop on there and tell them they can look
I'll
at
do that.
Facebook.
There we go.
All right, so next we had, and I just put this because I'm a Georgia fan and I saw it, but Georgia's Dwan Mathis enters the transfer portal. We've talked about him at length. I hate that his story didn't really work out. You know, he had the cyst removed from his brain 2 springs ago, and was in position to be the starting quarterback for Georgia in game 1 this year. Didn't work out. Long story short, he's 4th string now and didn't even make the trip to South Carolina. So he is now entering the transfer portal. We'll see where he goes. He's actually from the Michigan area, so who knows? He may end up Michigan State. I heard that as a possibility. Who knows?
It's always nice when a kid gets to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so best of luck to him. I hate that it didn't work out. I was really hoping for his style. I was really excited about, after we've had a pocket passing quarterback for years, I really was looking forward to a running quarterback, but it just didn't work out.
Unfortunately, this was not the season for running quarterbacks
No.
across the SEC.
It just wasn't. Did you guys have any other news that you've heard around the league or anything worth
A
mentioning?
little bit of breaking news about an hour ago. Tennessee's starting linebacker Kevon Bennett has been dismissed from the team.
Ooh, why?
Following
Spill the tea.
here's the quote from Jeremy Pruitt. Quote, Kevon Bennett has been dismissed from our football program following a traffic stop earlier today. There is a standard our student athletes are expected to uphold in Tennessee, and today's incident fell well short of that standard. Apparently there were weapons and drugs in the car.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
Good times.
You can't do that.
There's a reason why if you go on certain places, they always award what they call the Fulmer Cup to the college football team that has the most arrests and misdemeanors and whatnot throughout the season. There's a reason why it's called the Fulmer Cup. But, yeah, it's another black eye for the program. Not a good look. The optics on that are really bad.
Derek Mason was fired.
Derek Mason was fired.
Yes, he was.
For those that didn't
Yes,
catch
he
on
was.
earlier, Derek Mason, the head coach of Vanderbilt, was fired.
We're not
I
real
don't
happy
think
about that, to be honest.
anyone is surprised. Even at Vanderbilt, you
But how classy of him. Did y'all see the little write-up he did?
Yeah.
He
I
put
didn't.
online. It was...
Actually, both sides. So
Yeah, Vanderbilt was very amicable about it,
they
too.
wrote up a huge thank you for all that he's done for the program and everything, and he in turn did the same. You know what Vanderbilt has meant to him and all that. And also really unfortunate on the heels of the latest. With the kicker this week, Sarah Fuller. So unfortunate that all that had to happen around that. But I think this has kind of been a long time coming, and we've talked at length about Vandy being a low expectation team.
there's still expectations.
But at some point, you have to draw the line and say, look, we got to win a game.
But it's
So-
not that long ago because he got a contract extension last February.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was the season where
Wonder
they
what his
were...
buyout was.
And I looked that up. It's not available because they're a private university.
Oh.
True, yeah.
Derek Mason is very nice. I've had to work with him before, and he was always a classy guy. So,
Yeah. So best of luck to him and wherever he ends up, perhaps Bama as an analyst or something.
we'll get there.
Um,
Intern.
Yeah, whatever. So
He went 27-54 in 6 seasons at Vanderbilt. After he came from Stanford in 2014. I mean, it's hard to win football games in the modern SEC at Vanderbilt.
It is.
Now, Vanderbilt 100 years ago, absolutely, they won everything. But
He's done stuff in the past, like media stuff, like look at Gene Chizik. If Gene can get a job doing analysis and TV, I think Derek is.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I love Gene Chizik. I wish they would have kept him.
I bet you do.
Big Chizik fan.
although when Franklin was there, I thought he had Vanderbilt rolling pretty good. And then obviously he took the Penn State job.
Yeah.
But
Well, there's rumors I saw on the internet saying they want to bring him back. And you know what? After the season at
I was
Penn
gonna say,
State, he may
might-
not be against that
He might
idea.
do.
low expectations and
I mean,
and obviously a track record of success there. So and he's
But he
already
did just beat Michigan.
he's already got connections.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I doubt he would come back. I would imagine that it'll probably be
Yeah.
Sark that goes back.
Well, that kind of so that leads us to our opinion segment.
Why is Matt picking on me?
You're a grown woman, you can handle it.
Yes, I can.
Who is so the opinion segment? Who is going to be Vandy's next head coach? So I was reading
Will Muschamp.
some Saturday Down South.
His tour day SEC. First stop's in Florida. Second stop's in Carolina.
He's just went, whoop.
If he ends up in Tennessee, I'm going to cut my wrists open.
It could happen.
Did you put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby?
Oh man! So 5 realistic candidates that were mentioned for this job in Vandy are Clark Lee, Notre Dame defensive coordinator; Charles Huff, Alabama running backs;
Of course.
Jeff Levy, Ole Miss OC; Justin Fuente, Virginia Tech head coach; and then Brian Johnson, Florida
The
OC.
one that I noticed that I think, to me, sounds like the contender they would be looking for
Yeah.
is Levy. I think Ole
Yeah.
Miss's offense is just lights out, and everybody's taking notice. And yes, they have Lane Kiffin for sure.
Yeah.
But I also think this is something that
And he's
they
young.
sucked, right? Like
Yeah.
Ole Miss sucked, and it can be attributed to Lane as well. But Vanderbilt wants something like that. They need a quick turnaround. They need some fire. I think I'd be looking that.
He's
way.
only 36 too.
Get a couple
So he's a
years
young
out of
guy.
him.
Come in. He may be in running for that South Carolina job too.
Could be.
Is
Our
it-
coaching carousel has started.
It really has.
Now here's the question: who else is going to be on that carousel for the end of the season?
Right. Are there any other names that weren't on here that you guys thought might be a possibility?
Not for the Vanderbilt job.
No.
Yeah.
I did hear a rumor about the Texas job though.
Ooh.
No.
There's a rumor going around. This is just a rumor. I don't know if this is. I can't substantiate
I
this
have
at
no
all.
idea.
But apparently, Urban Meyer was in Austin picking out some real estate this past weekend.
His heart keeps getting better and better.
Every time those recruiting violations show up, I'm coming at them. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they're all gone, oh look, I can go back to coaching football again.
I got a new valve.
Yeah, it's a pig valve. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to fire Tom Herman, but
I would lose my mind.
it's interesting that little story popped up this past weekend.
Oh, the tea.
Man, if he did, I don't know. He's already pulled that one time. If it happens again,
You should.
Because he left Florida because of health, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And then he left Ohio State because of his health again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then, but state is what? Athletic something or
Yeah, it was like
teacher?
the- yeah.
I don't know.
right. That's right. Well, so
State of
it's not
something.
just his heart, right? It's it was something else. It was something to do with
It's like his family or something.
Doesn't he have like? There's something with his brain or something where it doesn't respond well. And I'm not being funny, but it doesn't respond well to stress or something like that. And like when he gets in like a really stressful situation, like it triggers whatever that is. And then forgive me, I don't remember what it is. But it wasn't just his heart. He's got something else going on, and that was primarily what drove his decision to leave Ohio State, I think.
Oh.
So yeah,
What?
I don't know. I'm trying to like.
Oh.
but
He was diagnosed with a benign cyst on the membrane that covers his brain.
that's the one.
While the condition is not life-threatening, he has often suffered from headaches and appeared to be impacted during the Maryland game. That's why he left Ohio State. He gets headaches.
Yes.
But I would say maybe football is not.
Well, that's what we were saying
Yeah.
then. They're like, that's probably not a good.
Maybe
good
like
idea.
yoga instructor.
So,
The Urban Meyer School of Yoga and Meditation.
Stop it right now. Just let's move on, Wes. Come on.
uh,
I don't need that.
Do we have
mental-
any,
Man, I don't need the mental picture of Urban Meyer screaming at 30-plus-year-old women, telling them they need to do Warrior Pose 2. Okay, I don't need that.
I want that picture made.
Oh my gosh. That needs to be made into a movie, like a little segment. You know what
That's
I mean?
the alternate universe Urban Meyer.
Right.
He's a
Yes.
yoga instructor.
Right.
He's got long hair.
He does.
And a
Oh my
ponytail.
God.
He's
It's
got-
Fabio
he's got-
hair
Ah,
on the
he's got a
Urban
man
Meyer
bun.
face.
No, he's got a man bun. He's got a man bun.
yes.
Gotta have a man bun.
Yoga pants.
That's what we need to do for a Just for Fun segment. What alternate universe job would the head coaches have?
Love it.
You know what Jeremy Pruitt says?
What's that?
Landscaping. Let's move on.
I was gonna say a chef.
Okay.
No. Even in an alternate universe, he's not going to be able to know how to cook asparagus. Coach, if you're watching this, I don't mean it.
I think he does.
How funny would it be if one of them actually watched this?
I would die.
I would, oh my god, I don't even want to think
I
about it.
would die.
All I know is your recounting of that was hilarious. Of the what is this? That's asparagus, coach.
That's what it is. Aspergrass.
We're going.
Okay.
Yes, sir! I didn't get a chance to do Sam Pittman this week.
That's true. Yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on the Vandy job, mainly because I don't know. You
We
know,
won it. I mean, no offense to Vanderbilt, but you know what you're getting into. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting a mid-tier MAC team or you're picking up, you know, a
It's-
team out of the, I don't know, the Pac-12 that's perennially just been bad. Like,
the only
Well, it's
thing.
not even a team that's like necessarily easy to recruit to.
right, how easy is it to get a kid to come to Vanderbilt? He's got to have certain athletic things. He's got to have certain academic requirements as well, because you got to practically be a brain
He's
cell
got
to
it,
get
yeah.
in school.
He's also, those kids have to be able to handle living in a city.
Right,
It's one of the
right.
only, it might be the only, I'm trying to think of other schools that have, or like larger cities in the SEC.
In the SEC, I
In the
think they're all
SEC,
small
they're
college
all
towns.
college towns.
True.
This is the one city of like Bacheloretteville that you have to be able to like handle yourself in.
Bachelor.
It's a beautiful place.
It is.
And I
It's
don't
so
mean,
fun.
I don't mean like that.
We'll do a live show.
It's not my
one day.
favorite city in Tennessee.
I was there in fall, and the turning leaves.
You went to the
Arboretum.
Thank you.
I went to that place, and it was very.
Forguven at the Arboretum.
That's right.
Only Vanderbilt would name it that. If they had that at Tennessee, hey, we got trees over here.
I don't think they named it that. I think that's an actual
it's
word.
a word.
Oh, it's an
It's an actual word. It's like gardens and trees and stuff.
Yeah, and they're.
That could be another good fun, just for fun segment. What sort of ridiculous, like highfalutin thing would each school have?
Yeah.
Because
And
Vanderbilt's got their
Arboretum.
thank
We
you.
have a mental institution on campus, or we did. The State Mental Hospital.
Really shouldn't talk that way about the Alabama cheerleaders. Let's move on.
I was
Um,
crabs.
okay. All right. So
She's
let's.
not though.
Are we done?
Yes, sorry.
Let's go ahead.
See, Wes is always there. Come on back, guys. Let's go back.
Let's get to next week's matchups. So let's get ready to rumble.
Ding ding.
Ding ding. Texas A&M at 6-1 at Auburn at 5-3. That is a noon kickoff on ESPN. So I think obviously A&M is going to be able to score some points here. Honestly, I think Auburn is too, but I just see A&M being able to score a little more, and I think Auburn's going to kind of fizzle down the stretch. I got A&M winning this one 28-21. Jesse, what do you have?
I have to agree there. I don't think that Auburn's going to be able to get it done. They're too Jekyll and Hyde for me, and I think recently they've been a little more Hyde than Jekyll. So I'm going to take A&M 31-21.
Okay.
I don't. You said 31-21, right, Jesse? I'm gonna write this down.
Thank
for
you.
us.
I'm going to do the
You do the redundancy.
redundancy.
Yes. We had
Yes.
this problem last
Digital
week.
and analog.
All right.
very redundant person.
We know Auburn struggled. We know Auburn got their teeth kicked in last week, but A&M didn't look like they were on fire. You know what? I'm gonna go with A&M. I can't.
Oh, I was like, oh my God.
I'm gonna go A&M. I'm gonna say they win. I'm gonna say 20-14. I'm gonna say
Was that 20?
20 even.
22.
22-14.
14.
Not 22. 22-14. I wrote
Dash.
it down. I wrote it down.
20-14. I know. I'm just being difficult. All right. So
You said 7. You said 10. I said less than. All right.
there you go. All right.
Which means that I'm not going to be anywhere close. It's probably like 42-14.
Next we have Arkansas at 3-5.
Yes, sir!
Mizzou, 4-3.
There you
That is noon on SEC Network. So, Vegas actually has Mizzou favored in this one, but I don't know. So I want to go with the Barry Odom factor and the fact that he kind of has a beat on this Mizzou team. I want to go with Arkansas. I don't know if you can call it an upset because I think they're favored by like 3 or something. But I want to go with Arkansas winning this one, 27-24. Jesse, what do you got?
I think Mizzou, coming off of that win at Vandy, is going to be a little too big for their britches. And I think they're going to underestimate this Arkansas team. So I am picking the Hogs 24-21.
Everybody's picking the Arkansas. You said 24-21?
Yes.
You do realize that's the same differential between the two of you,
I
right?
do.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
no, I didn't do the math.
It's fine.
No, it's fine.
It'll all work out.
Because
No, because I'm going to get the score exact.
That's right. She's going to get 2 points.
It's like 50 down court. That's what it's going to be.
you know what?
That's
Mizzou is favored. Mizzou's coming off a pretty big game against Vanderbilt.
You're going to be too big for their britches.
Britches.
Probably. Ay.
Now, I was just trying to figure out how to get up in the.
This is the thing I hate about this job because I always go last and then I'm kind of hemming and hawing. I'm gonna go with Vegas on this one. I'm gonna say Missouri wins 28-24.
Okay. In future weeks, do we want to flip it? Do you want to go first?
Ooh.
Oh, don't tease me now.
I'll let
Hey.
him go first.
Okay, just let me know. We can
Because
do
I write mine down, so it's okay.
I'm not, rigid in any of this. Like this whole outline can be thrown out if you guys want. It's just kind of, guidelines, as they would say. So, all right. So Florida is the next game. Florida's at 7-1 at Tennessee, 2-5,
Oh,
3:30 on CBS. Florida is favored heavily in this one. And I think we've seen Florida's defense struggle. I think that Florida does give up a decent amount of points, but I think they're able to score as well. I got them winning pretty big here, 42-21, Florida. Jesse?
I would have to agree with you there. Even though it is in Knoxville, I am still going to pick the Gators by a lot. Picking them 45-17.
getting close to that.
Sorry.
That 50 burger.
Sorry. This is bad.
This is set up perfectly. Florida has demolished everybody they've played, for the most part,
Except for A&M.
except for that A&M game, but that was an aberration. Everybody gets one. Florida has a Heisman-leading quarterback. Everything is set up for this to be completely perfect for Tennessee to come in and upset them.
Are you picking
That's
it?
what I want to have happen. But what's probably going to happen is Kyle Trask is going to come in. He's probably going to hang a 50 burger on us, and then we're going to lose like 50-13. So that's my guess.
50-13?
50-13. Wait, can you get 50? No, 49-14. Right? Yeah, 49.
Technically, I guess any score is
40.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. 49-14
We
is
could-
what I'm going to say.
We could figure out how.
49-14.
As much as it pains me to call that, I have a sneaking suspicion that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so devil's advocate, if that happens, is Pruitt gone?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just want to throw it out there. I didn't think so.
Not against a top-ranked Florida team.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Now, if we got demolished like that by Vanderbilt, I still don't think he gets fired. I don't think they can him
You
this
think they're
year.
just in
I
ride out the rest
just
of the
think
season
they're
mode?
weather the storm for this season, see what they can do. But we just had like 3 different guys, prospects for this next season, drop off.
Oh.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. They all came flying off the board just the other day. So if the recruits are starting to bail out, that's worrisome.
That's
Yeah.
bad.
All right, so next we have Vanderbilt at 0-8 at Georgia 6-2, 4 o'clock on SEC Network. Georgia's heavily favored in this one as well. I'm going to go with Georgia winning this one pretty big at home, 42-7. I think it's kind of very similar to last week. I think we run the ball really well. JT doesn't have to throw it a lot, but probably has a few touchdowns. So 42-7 Georgia. Jesse?
Yeah, I have to agree there. I think Vanderbilt's just a mess right now. UGA is going to take care of them 35-6. We're going to get Sarah, 2 field goals, or she might miss one. But
Would she say 45-6?
35-6.
So I would give up the shutout. I would like to see that. I would like to see her score some points, but I don't know how likely that is for Vandy.
Yeah,
Matt?
I got news for you kids. This is going to be ugly. I got
Yeah.
a feeling. Georgia's defense is flagged within the last couple weeks, but let's be honest here, it's Vanderbilt. They're not setting the world on fire. So I'm going to say UGA wins this thing. I'm going to say I like 35-3. I like 35-3.
Okay.
Sarah!
I like it a lot. Let's say maybe a field goal, and I'm thinking that's not going to be an easy field goal.
Yeah. All right. Next we have South Carolina at 2-7, at Kentucky at 3-6. This is a 7:30 kickoff on SEC Network. Yeah, I mean, I think South Carolina's really just struggle busting it right now, and I think that they continue. I think Kentucky kind of had a blueprint of how to do well in the first half of last game. I think they kind of learned some lessons from the Florida game. I got Kentucky winning this one 31-17. Jesse?
I'm picking Kentucky as well. I hope that they make some adjustments coming out of that Florida game. I think South Carolina is still just a struggle bus, so I am picking the Wildcats 28-17.
All right, Matt?
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. Kentucky's favored by 11 here, so I'm going to say Kentucky wins this thing 24-10. That's what I think.
Okay.
24-10.
All right, and then finally we have Alabama at 8-0, at LSU 3-4, 8 o'clock on CBS. So two, if you're keeping track, two CBS games on Saturday.
What devilry is
That's
this?
the nightcap. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Bama, I'll say obviously. If I would have said obviously at the beginning of this year, you guys would have called me crazy. But given how things have gone, Bama heavily favored in this one. And I think that they do just that. I've got Bama winning this one 48-17. Jesse?
No surprise. I'm picking the Tide. This is going to be ugly. I'm picking the Tide 52-13.
Oh!
Bye.
Giving them a little bit of a kick in the rear end from last year, right? Because didn't y'all lose to the...
We did Tua. We had to Mac, and it was just okay. It was
That's
close
right.
though.
I was actually in, speaking
was
of Nashville, that's where I was when I watched that game. And it was wild. That's when Tua fumbled right at the beginning of that game, right? And it was just kind of like on his own. He just kind of...
Tua did that a couple times last year.
Yeah.
He was hurt.
Yeah, he was playing.
It was
yeah.
46-41. It
And-
hurt so bad.
Wasn't that that was just a couple of weeks removed from his was it ankle surgery or whatever it was? Wasn't that?
He's on the yeah, that was the first game back after.
Yeah,
after that.
we took 2 out, but we scored 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Only he'd scored 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're an LSU fan, you may want to avert your eyes.
This
This is going to be
Trigger
bad.
warning.
I think it's going to be really bad. Yeah, I like the way we're thinking. We're all hovering around that 50 burger spot, and to be completely honest with you, I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to say LSU gets a little bit more points, so I'm going to say final score is 52-16. A couple field goals for LSU.
Okay. And you know, Saban's thrilled to just get back and coach. So I think any opportunity to pour on the points, he's going to be like,
Yeah, he's not going to shirk from that.
keep it going. Yeah.
Well, also, maybe we won't because we want to save Mac Jones. But if you notice, we continually take Mac Jones out, usually at the end of the third quarter, and put in Bryce. So I think that's why his stats are not as great as Kyle Trask, because Kyle Trask does not get taken out. So all of you Heisman people, keep that in mind.
In fairness, Kyle Trask
It doesn't matter anyway.
It doesn't.
He doesn't have a Bryce Young behind him either.
He doesn't.
So I think that that's worth noting as well, because obviously you want to kind of prep the future as well. So I had one more thing to add, and this probably belongs in the opinion segment, but I was thinking today about how much, for me personally, how much fun it is to do this show, and how I think even in some ways I think that this show is better and more entertaining. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the ESPNs and stuff like that, but we're not beholden to any kind of line
Standard.
that we have to toe, or any kind of type of you got to say this to get likes.
We're not pushing a product.
You got to, yeah, and that's exactly
awesome.
it. It's not being pushed from behind by any kind of money or anything like that. So
Journalistic ethics.
yeah, exactly.
Or lack thereof.
So, and to me, it's really kind of what a show like this should be. It's just kind of like, you know, 3 friends, different fandoms, but can, you know, put that aside and enjoy talking about SEC football. And to me, that's what it should be. And I don't dislike. Obviously, I listen to other shows just to try to broaden my knowledge. And let's also let's be honest. Gone are the days of where you just had a small number of people who had all the information, and no one else has it. You have to watch this show to get it. So, it's really cool to be able to do something like this. So while you guys are here. I figured I would mention that as well.
I mean, it's cool. We live in an age that's really unique where, for the first time, people are able to create their own content and the content they want. If it doesn't exist, you can go out there and just make it. It's super easy. Most apps and everything are free, so I think that's cool. I think if you're a rowing fan and you want to start an ACC rowing podcast, like you have the ability.
ACC would have rowing teams. Anyway, go ahead.
But you have the ability to do that, so it's pretty neat. I agree. It's been fun.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So that does it for this week's show. And so if you guys...
do we have our just for fun? Because I wrote one down.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we've mentioned a couple possibilities. What did you have?
The one I wrote down was which coach, SEC or not, should be the next person to go to the Saban Rehabilitation Program.
Saban Rehab.
Because if you look, we've had a few. We've had Lane. We've had Sark. We've had, there's tons of Saban disciples out there, but right now we have Butch Jones as an intern.
Which, by the way, he didn't get that new offensive analyst job they had open up the other day. I don't know if y'all saw that story.
No, he's still an intern.
Oh, gosh.
He's still sitting as an intern, still getting that paycheck from the University of Tennessee.
Hey, I would love to be an intern, still get that paycheck, and get to hang out on the Bama sideline doing nothing.
I mean, that's basically it.
It's my dream job, I think.
I almost feel like we're talking about some kind of cult or something. The Alabama.
Have you met Bama fans?
Whatever.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Did you have anybody in mind?
You know what? I think we talked about it. We said that Muschamp would probably benefit from going through the Nick Saban School of Rehabilitation. I think that could, finally kind of get him back to where he needs to be. Because he was a big name when he got hired at Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really popular with a lot of different jobs that were open that year.
In conjunction with his anger management.
Everybody's got an anger problem. So Florida kind of tanked that a little bit. But then Carolina brought it back up, and then now it's tanked again. So that would be my pick.
I'm trying to think of anybody who's especially crashed and burned lately. Did you have any?
Derek Mason.
Yeah.
I think Derek Mason somewhere on the sideline would be really interesting. He could maybe be on the defensive side of the ball. Could be strength and conditioning. I think he'd benefit. And I think him and Saban would be a very interesting relationship.
Yeah. Okay, so I just had a face flash across my vision. Who's Florida State's head coach? The guy?
Norvell?
Yeah. So, and granted, I know he inherited just
A dumpster fire.
a shambles system from Jimbo, which, let's just be honest, that's...
No, he didn't get it from Jimbo. He got it from
There's another one.
the other fella.
I know, but that program...
But that guy got it from
right.
Jimbo.
The program was headed downhill when Jimbo left.
Yeah, they
That's
gave
why
that
he
guy
left.
a fan and said, "Put out the fire."
Taggart, right?
Yeah, with Taggart
Taggart.
out of Oregon. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think you could probably take either of those guys.
That's fair.
Because I feel like they just need a pick-me-up or something. You know what I mean?
Florida State's really fallen. Like Tennessee, as a Tennessee fan, I know what it looks like when a team's fallen off. But Florida State has just, yikes.
2013 was like a cursed year. Auburn and FSU,
Just-
national championship, and then all of a sudden it was like, phew,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real bad.
have not recovered well.
So I would agree with you. So obviously, from your perspective, watching Tennessee go downhill, but I think FSU has been above and beyond that. When you think of something that is a brand where you're like, this team is perennially good, to just in the dumps now, losing to goodness knows who.
I hate to think what Bobby Bowden thinks about that. You spent all those years at Florida State building that program up, and then you're gone for a couple of years, and Jimbo guts it, and then they just.
Well, he wasn't just gone; he was kind of told to leave.
Yeah.
That's true.
So.
And you gave him somebody named Jimbo. So.
Yeah.
I bet they regret that decision now.
Possibly.
I know I do when we fired Phil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Phil resigned, but he was basically told you either resign or we're firing you.
I think that almost sounds like the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
voluntold.
They did that. They did that to Phil. They did that to Bobby Bowden. They probably did that. I don't remember if they did that to Joe Paterno or not, but on the Sandusky stuff.
that was
There was a
little-
lot going on with Joe
there
Pop.
was a lot going on there.
He should have
They
left.
did the same thing to. Didn't they do the same thing to Bo Schembechler when he left Michigan? Or no, he retired. He just retired outright, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of these are, like you said, it's kind of like, look, we're going to give you an opportunity to retire, or we'll fire you if you don't want to. So
We're telling you
So,
to retire.
You're going to retire, yeah. All right, so well, that was fun. So
I'm gonna show kind of a.
yeah.
No.
So if you guys would like to contact us, please hit us up on email if you'd like to contact us that way at pigskinsandpageantry@gmail.com. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/pigskinsandpageantry. I need some background music for this. That'd be great. And then we're on Twitter at PPSEC Podcast. Also Instagram at Pigskins and Pageantry. Don't forget, we are available for download on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and most podcasting apps for iPhone, Android, and other operating systems. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and review. We love 5 stars. So obviously we'll be on YouTube shortly on this as well. I'll get to work on that, and we'll have the video available. And last week was pretty busy with the holidays and such, so I didn't make any like special little clips, but I'll try to do that this week. So until next time, this is Wes. Go Dogs.
As always, roll tide and teach those tigers to behave.
All right, guys, have a good one. Go Vols. I missed. You know where it goes.
They can't see it.